How is everyone doing out there in YouTube land? Welcome to Momma Jo's Kitchen. I hope everybody is having a really good day. My husband Michael's going to be home here very soon, so I need to get dinner on the table for him. So what am I making him today? Well, we're starting out here with a large pan, and it's not turned on yet because one of the important things, and I've got this on this, I would like to put it on this larger burner, but I have trouble with this burner. I haven't turned it on, but I'm getting ready to, because we need to get everything going kind of at the same time. In order for this dish to turn out successfully, it's kind of one of those things you kind of got to stay on top of it. So hopefully I'll be able to explain everything to you and get everything done the appropriate time. Back here I have a pan of water that is on, but it's not hot yet. I just started it. I am going to salt it, but I'm not going to salt it until right when it starts to boil. You do not want to oil this. Not like when you're normally cooking spaghetti noodles, you know how you put a little bit of oil? Not for this recipe. We are making spaghetti carbonara. So, you know, if you put oil in it, our sauce is not going to want to stick and absorb to the pasta. So do not put any oil. So we have a cold skillet here, and what I have here, let me get it in here, and let me get my stove turned on. Over here, let's see, I'm going to put it on about a medium high for me. And you start off cold. Actually, I'm going to start off on a 3. I don't want it really high. We are going to slowly cook and render this. And if my water back here gets to boiling before I'm ready to cook my pasta, I'll turn it down. So I'm going to kind of keep an eye on it and gauge it here. What am I frying up here? Some people like to use bacon, thick cut bacon. My husband loves bacon, but I'm actually trying to stick as original to this recipe as I possibly can. I think it's guanciale is what I'm actually using. That's a fancy, I guess, name that the Italians use. We here, Michael loves it. We just call it pork jowl. So I have taken, it's about 0.38. I would have liked to have about a half of a pound, so I'm a little bit under what I would like to have here. But this is something I had bought last week, and I had put it up in the freezer. I took it out last night, because if you're not going to use it right away, you might want to freeze it. And what I've done is I've kind of, either you want to cut it up in small cubes, or you want to slice it, and I kind of just sliced it here. What we want to do is we want to crisp up the pork jowl or guanciale, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, pieces. And then let me grab this plate over here. And then I have a plate here with a paper towel on it. And when they are done brown, I will take that out, and you want to leave that grease in the skillet. Now, if you have too much, I don't think I'm going to have too much because I have less than half a pound here. You know, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons. So if you have too much, you might want to take some out. Now, the spaghetti noodles that I'm using is typically made with the longer spaghetti. And this is what I had on hand from the last time I went to the store. And these just happen to be pot sized. I've not used these before, but they just look like regular spaghetti noodles that have been like cut in half. It's just going to make things a little bit easier, I think. But, you know, typically for this recipe, you want to leave them whole. And we're going to cook them off, but what we're going to do is we're only going to bring it to the al dente stage. You don't, if it recommends on here, I think 10 minutes. Let me look. I think it's on the bottom side here. 10 to 11 minutes. So I'm probably going to check them around 8 or 9 minutes. you know, take a noodle out, and I still want just a little bite to them because, and we need to save some of our pasta water. That's really important. And then I'm going to take my noodles and I'm going to put them in this little strainer here. And we want to work with our sauce while our pasta noodles are hot. But we don't want our pan to be too hot, because if it's too hot, folks, you'll get scrambled eggs. So this is one of those things that can be a trial and error thing. And, you know, it takes a little practice, and then, you know, once you get it down, you know, it's really delicious. Now, let me talk about what else we're using. I have chosen to use 4 egg yolks. Some like to use whole eggs, or they'll use egg yolks and maybe a whole egg. I'm just going with the yolk. And it's highly recommended to use non-pasteurized eggs, which I don't have non-pasteurized. I don't have any access, unless, you know, we have family that sometimes when they have chickens and they have too many, sometimes we're gifted with some eggs. But this time of the year, we don't have any of that. So I'm just using store-bought eggs. So I got 4 egg yolks here. And you're going to want to whisk. And what I've done here is I actually took my whole peppercorns and I ground them up. You want freshly ground peppercorns. This is 2 teaspoons right here. For our pasta water back there, I don't want to over salt the pasta, because we're going to be using some of that pasta water, and our meat is already salty. Our cheese has salt in it. So I'm only using half of a tablespoon of the kosher coarse salt to salt my water with, but I'm not ready for that yet. Hold on here. We're starting to render down here a little bit. Let me get this stirred. It smells really good. And then right when this is almost done, this is optional. It's not original, but Michael loves garlic. So I will, these are, I cut and peeled, and I cut in half and mashed them. I will put them in there towards the end of, you know, when they're browning, just to release some of the garlic oil, but I will be removing these. And let's talk about the important ingredient here. This is the most expensive part of this dish. So I went to Food Lion, and the main cheese that you put in your sauce is, let me see if I'm saying it right. I don't know if it's pecorino or I can't say it, folks. Pecorino, Romano cheese. So I have shredded that, and I have about a half a cup here, and I used my fine shredder here, grater, right here. And then this is optional. This is what they mainly use to make the sauce with. And then I bought some Parmigiano Reggiano, and I put some in a shaker here that I will put on top. That's optional. You don't have to have that. But this one block of cheese right here was $10 for this block right here. And then this one here was like $8, I think. So what I don't use, I will wrap up really good, tight, and freeze it. Okay, so our water back here, I'm going to turn it up a little bit. It's just starting to get a few bubbles in it. Man, this smells so good, folks. I can't tell you how good it smells. Michael's going to have just a salad. I thought about getting him some bread, you know, make some crusty bread or something, or garlic bread with it, but with him having a salad and he's got all this pasta, because he really shouldn't have all those carbs, I'm just not going to make him any bread to go with it. But of course that would be really good. So if you know, want to make this for your family, feel free to make that to go along with it. Another reason why I'm going with this pan right here is because I need to toss our pasta noodles in here. It's going to make it easier to do that with. Oh, I was looking for my my little tongs. Hold on. Yeah, that'll make things a little easier to work with. Now, there's all kinds of ways to make this. I mean, I have seen everything. You know, of course, the fancy chefs. I'm no fancy chef. I'm just a plain old ordinary cook. You know, they do everything pretty much right here in the pan, and, you know, they toss and do all kinds of stuff. You can actually use a blender. You can use a processor. What I'm going to do is I'm going to whisk my eggs up with my little hand whisk here, with the cheese, with the pepper, and then when we're ready to get like everything kind of put together, I'll take a little bit of that hot pasta water out, and as I am whisking, I will temper my eggs. That way we don't want cooked eggs, and once I temper them, we'll get the pasta over here, you know, because some people can take the grease and put that in here too. I'm leaving it in the pan. I think it's going to be easier to do that way. And we'll turn the stove off, because the pan will be hot enough, the burner is still hot enough that we shouldn't need the heat. So essentially I said all that to tell you that the pasta itself is basically cooks the eggs. Okay, so you want to get this rendered down. You don't want it to get burnt, but, you know, I want to get some of these little fat pieces in here, you know, kind of rendered down a little bit more. Okay, I need to turn this water up. It's that burner, folks. It's one of them. Some of you might know I have trouble with these burners here. But if you have a really good stove and you know how to gauge your stove and it doesn't give you any issues, basically you want, by the time you go to take your meat out here, you want your pasta to be done cooking. So I might have to cut this off, just take my meat and stuff out, and turn it back on right when my pasta is done. Try to see about how much grease I want to have in here. I'm going to have just about 2 tablespoons, it looks like, which is really good. I think I'm going to get my garlic in there, folks. Again, that is not traditionally used, and you don't use cream or anything like that. The sauce is strictly made with the egg yolks or eggs, the cheese, the fat from the meat. Oh, I think I said, pancetta. That's another meat that they commonly use. But you know what? Pork jowl is very delicious. If you want to see my husband's review on that, that's on my channel in the short section. Okay, I'm taking some of this meat out and just letting it hang out here. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this off until I can get my water, get my pasta where I need it. Okay, I'm going to try to get all the little meat pieces out here. I got a little piece over here. Okay, I'm turning that one over. It's starting to brown. That one flipped on me. Okay, there's all my meat pieces right there. Okay, I actually have it on high back there, folks. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you all back. I'm going to remove that garlic back there too. I won't leave that in there. That was just to help flavor my oil. This will go back in when we go to toss our pasta in. I need to get that water boiling. I'll get my noodles in. I'll get them to the al dente stage. I'll bring you all back when I'm ready to drain them and get everything. I'll get the pan back on. We'll get this whisked up, and then I'll show you how it all comes together. Michael will be home here soon. I'll let him fix his salad up real quick so he'll have it ready. And we'll go over to that table, and he'll give you all a taste test. So hold on, folks. All right, folks. I brought you all back just to kind of relay my frustration here. Michael is home, and that burner back there, yeah, maybe I could have moved it, but the problem is this one pan is so big. I can't use this burner here, so I've got my water back here. It's just now coming to the boil. I had to put a lid on it to help bring it to that. And it's pretty bad when Michael's home, and that's just now coming to a boil. So it's going to come together, but I'm just a little frustrated. This won't happen probably on your stove if you have a good working stove. So I apologize, but it shouldn't be much longer, because what I'm going to do is I'm getting ready to salt my water. I wanted to let you all know I'm getting ready to put my salt in here. I'm going to get my pasta put in here, and because it does not have oil in there, I will make sure I keep an eye on it and stir it pretty frequently, because I don't want my pasta to stick. Then I'm going to set my timer, probably 8-9 minutes. You know, once it starts kind of coming back to a boil again, because the box says 10-11 minutes. And then right when I think it's getting close, I'm going to turn this back on just to get my oil, heat it back up. We'll throw the meat back in just to heat it up a little bit. And I'll bring you back, and we'll get the sauce whipped up here. Okay, so hang in there. I apologize. Alright, folks, this has been a very rough video. I don't know if you can tell, but I had to switch things. Even though I don't trust these burners, I had such a hard time with that burner back there. So I put my other pan over here, and I put the spaghetti over here. Because see, they won't fit across from each other either, even though this pan is not workable. So I'm making do. This is about al dente. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get the, let me turn it down on low, the lowest setting. I'm going to go ahead and get my noodles transferred over here. I kind of wanted to work with them while they're still hot. They'll keep a little bit of heat here. My pan back there is on low, but I want to get everything kind of whisked together. I might do a switcheroo here. Try not to let my stove deter you from making this recipe. I do apologize. So yeah, they're a little bit bitey yet. I want it to be that way. And I'm going to reserve some of this pasta water. Yep, I just lost one on the stove. Come here, little devil. My stove is clean. Okay. All right, I would work a little bit faster. I don't want them sticking together. Okay, there's my pasta water back there. All right, folks, hang in there. Here's my eggs. I already got them kind of whipped up here. Add your pepper. Add your cheese. Okay, you're going to have a paste like that. All right, we're going to get some of that pasta water. Okay, just get a ladle, and we're going to slowly pour that in as I'm whisking. I probably should have that on my silicone, so it wouldn't be there we go. Okay, you don't need a whole lot. See that? Now, let me get my bacon back in here. Not bacon, the pork jowl. Or what they call guanciale. Guanciale. Now, my pan was on there. What I might do is move it over here. I have to do a switcheroo, folks. All right, let's get our pasta in here. Now, I do not want the stove on. So what I'm doing here is tossing the spaghetti in with the meat. And then I'm going to pour this over. So I'm hoping the pan's not going to be too hot. To make a creamy sauce, what you want to do is see how dry it is. If it looks like it's too dry, add a little bit more pasta water, which I might just add a little bit here to clean out my bowl a little bit here. I'm trying to get all that goodness in there, folks. Okay, and now what you do is I'll make sure that it's off the heat. I am ready to get Michael served up. So let me get a bowl for him, or a plate, and we'll get moved over there. He'll give you a taste test.
How you doing, YouTube? Welcome to Momma Jo's Kitchen. Today we have spaghetti carbonara. I can't wait. It just smells amazing. I'm gonna dip right in there and get her going. Wow. Is that the pork belly or the
pork jowl? They call it guanciale. Italians call it guanciale. We call it pork jowl.
I'll never want to eat spaghetti any other way again. That right there, friends, that's a $50 plate of food right there. Guarantee it. Momma Jo might have had some problems with the stove, but that is delicious. The combination, the smokiness of the pork jowl.
Well, it's probably the cheese, Michael.
The cheese. Well, the pork jowl just makes it, like the pasta itself, perfect. If I had 4 thumbs, they'd all be up.
Porcini Romano cheese.
Wow.
And Reggiana, Parmesan Reggiana.
That just became my new favorite Italian dish. And that's saying something because I usually like stuff with the red sauce. This is amazing. You've got to try this. 2 thumbs up. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out the video where Momma Jo makes this. Don't be intimidated by it. Get out there and do it. This is absolutely amazing. Delicious. Thank you. Good night.